All right, so I wanted to show you how to do a little trick that I used when adding metadata to parts in a recent KiCad project that I was working on. So this was inspired by this post by Dan over at Rheingold Heavy about designing for manufacture with KiCad. And in this, he assumes that you start doing this process from the very beginning of when you're doing the project, which is, of course, the way you'd want to do it. My problem was I already had a project with a few hundred components and it was complete. I already had the board layout done, and it really wasn't going to be an option for me to go back and delete a lot of those components and then put copies of them in with the metadata. So I needed to put the metadata in for each component. And for example, here he suggests manufacturer name, part number, a distributor part number and link for one, and your secondary distributor here. Now, I'm not going to show you how to add these directly into KiCad because he talks about that in this post very well, and it's pretty easy to follow. But I want to show you what I did to make it a little bit quicker if you're in the situation that I found myself in. So I've got a KiCad project here, just a test project. So let's go into EE schema here, and let's drop down a couple of capacitors. So we're going to say that I already had these in my project. So we'll make a couple of copies here. We're just pressing C to do that in KiCad. All right, so I've got 4 capacitors there, and actually they're all going to be the same component, but I don't want to have to type in all of this information for each of them. So for example, if I hover over it and hit E, you see I have all of this to fill in. Okay, so what we're going to do is use an app called TextExpander, which is normally used to expand small snippets into emails, signatures, date timestamps, whatever you want. It's a really nice little app, and I will pull it up here. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to go down here and create a new group, and I'm going to name it KiCad part data, and then I'm going to put temporary in parentheses here. Let's just make it temp so it might display on the screen. There we go. Okay, so we're going to make this group. Here it is. And then we're going to add snippets. And the snippets are what will be expanded based on some kind of trigger key sequence. So we go down here and add a new snippet. And then we're going to make a snippet for each of these 6 fields. So the name, or the label for the snippet, we'll just use what Dan did here, manufacturer name. And the abbreviation, I like to use semicolons to start it, and we'll say MFGN for manufacturer name. And then here we'll put the text that we want to be replaced, that we want to replace the semicolon MFGN. So I picked a part on DigiKey. Let's say you go find this part. It's exactly what you want. Well, we know that the manufacturer here is Murata Electronics. So we copy, we paste that into here. Okay, now we're going to make a new snippet. And the second field that we're going to be looking for is manufacturer part number. So we can copy and paste that into the label. I'm going to call this MFGPN. Manufacturer part number is right here. And see, normally I'd have to copy all of this for each of those 4 capacitors, or if they're a really common thing like a 10K resistor, you would have to copy it maybe many tens of times. And that could get pretty old pretty quickly. And we don't want to do that. So we've got first distributor part number. I'm going to call that 1DPN. That would be here. This is the DigiKey part number. Okay, and we need a new snippet. You can scroll down, see we're making several here. This one is obviously going to be the first distributor link, which is going to be this URL. And I'm going to call this 1DL for first distributor link. Okay, we only got 2 more to go here. So we have the second distributor part number and the second distributor link. So what I'm going to do here is just go over, let's say that we wanted to have Mouser as our second distributor. Okay, so here we go. We've got the part, and we want the second distributor part number, which is this. And then we need the second distributor link. I'm going to call that 2DL. Oh, we actually need to assign second distributor part number 2DPN. All right. Should be 2DL there. See, it highlights in yellow if you have duplicates, which is pretty handy if you have kind of fat fingers when you type like I do and tend to make a lot of mistakes. And there's a second distributor link. So now we have 6 snippets that are going to expand over here. So now I'm going to go back, hit E over my component, manufacturer name, and the field value down here, I'm just going to type semicolon MFGN. Manufacturer part number, MFGPN, semicolon 1DPN, semicolon 1DL, semicolon 2DPN for second distributor part number, semicolon 2DL. Yes, that's a lot of work to get it set up, but just think about how much time you can save if you're doing many of these as compared to just copying and pasting for each one. Now, I would prefer if we could hit tab and go between these, because you can actually put in TextExpander things like, okay, hit tab, go to the next field, and in that case we could just have one snippet that would fill everything in. But it looks like, at least on the Mac version of KiCad, that does not work. So that would be something that would be really nice to have added. TextExpander is available for Mac and Windows. Of course, this isn't a product endorsement. It's just the particular tool that I use. There are a lot of things like it out there. So you see that we can do that pretty quickly. Once you get in a rhythm, you can go very fast. And then when you go to your next part, you just flip back over here to TextExpander, replace the text in here for the next part that you're going to do, say a 0 ohm jumper or 10K resistor, some other common part, and you just keep going through it. I was able to do that entire project in a couple of hours and probably saved myself at least that by using TextExpander to do this. All right, thanks. Hope this was helpful. If you have any other suggestions on how to do this a little bit better, if you already have a project set up, or any other KiCad DFM tips, it would be great. Just leave them in the comments below. Thanks.